U.S. Commander John Campbell toward the Senate Armed Services Committee. He's recommending U.S. troops remain in Afghanistan past the current December 2016 exit. I have one question. For what? ISIS is touting a baby boom as the key to the future of the Caliphate. Maury, we just talked about the ineptness of the U.S. military, not to their discredit, but the leadership. We've been fighting non-winning wars we've been trying to fight wars that we don't have any intentions on winning since Vietnam. This is going back 30, 40, 50 years now. Why stay in Afghanistan? What good is there to do other than to keep the contractors working?
No, actually what you've got today, you've got some very fine generals. We've still got the finest military establishment in the world by far. But these generals, once they get out, the first thing they do is criticize this government and how they have wrecked what has been created over decades, if not over the last century. And we have a military now that lives by the dictate of the man in the White House who's doing everything to undercut them. And then he puts them in harm's way, and a lot of our people get killed and maimed. And then when they become veterans, they are thrown to the wolves. Nobody does anything for them. The Veterans Administration has turned into a disaster. And these poor guys who you have to be a traitor like Bergdahl in order to get attention. I'll never forget when Obama had his parents, Bergdahl's parents, saying what a wonderful man he was, and they sent 5 of the killers back out to do their dirty work.
And then they were doing the little Arabic prayer in the Rose Garden?
Absolutely. I'm not going to get into the fact that I believe that Obama is a Muslim. I believe it.
Well, let's just start with this. When you're born into the family of a Muslim,
yeah,
his father was.
Yes.
You have to, at some point, you have to denounce that. I don't know that that's ever happened. But that's beside the point. It doesn't even really matter.
No, you're right. It's beside the point. But the basic direction that he's taken this country in is to try to please the Arabic part of the world, the extreme Arabs. Not sure there's a lot of decent people there, but like in Germany, the decent people kept their mouth shut and hid in the cellar because they knew that if they talked against the government, they'd be dead meat. And this is what's happening now in the Middle East. And you know what I find most disgraceful. I am not a Christian, but I have a tremendous love for the Christian community all over the world. I think they
evangelicals are better friends to Israel than the Jews are.
You said something in the last show when I said I'm ashamed about maybe a majority of the American Jews who are Democrats and support this man in the White House. And you said they replaced their Judaism with liberalism. And my wife told me to tell you what a wonderful statement that was. She's used it several times since that time.
I haven't gotten any royalties from it.
No, well, if there's any money to be made, I'm sure you'll get your share.
I appreciate that. Now, what are we doing in Afghanistan? What the heck are we going to do there for another 10, 12 years?
The Taliban is back in business, for God's sake.
Then let them run it.
I know it.
It's basically a parking lot.
You know why? Putin isn't going to have any problems. Putin will cut your head off before he'll look at you if you are against him. I can tell you instances in Lebanon when they had a Russian espionage agent who was caught by the Hezbollah, and they did him in. And next week after that, there were 12 of those Hezbollah guys with their hands and legs cut off before they cut their head off. So they know in Putin, he's not Mr. Nice Guy. He'll be as mean or meaner to them than they are to him. And that's the only way you can fight those people.
He was a KGB agent. I mean,
that's right. He wants a yes.
You're not a cupcake baker in the KGB.
There's an incident when the Soviet Empire disintegrated. He was the agent for the KGB in Dresden, Germany. The East Germany was starting to fall apart when everything else was falling apart for the Soviets. And I guess there were 100 or so try to get into the KGB headquarters, which was about a block away from the Stasis, which were the German communist Gestapo. And he said, "You SOBs, you come any closer, I'm going to shoot every one of you. You get out of here." And they ran like hell. So, I mean, he knows how to fight his enemies.
So we're going to stay in Afghanistan for the foreseeable future. I don't understand
It's a
why.
ridiculous thing. It's putting, I find it despicable because he's taking good, fine, wonderful American patriots and putting them up for being...
With a bullseye on their back.
Exactly.
Okay, ISIS now claims that one of their keys to the future of the Caliphate is the baby boom. And we've talked about this several times in past shows as well, that community is populating at 8-1 versus the West.
Do you know,
it's only a matter of
but
time
that's
before
not
they
even,
overpopulate
That's
us.
nothing new. You know what Arafat said, and I think he even said it to Clinton when Clinton when he rejected the fact that that this guy Ehud Barak, who was the prime minister at the time, was willing to give him everything back to before the 1966 war. And he said, "We're going to take over everything because we have the power of the womb." So they have always felt that way. They're forcing women to have 5, 6, 7, 8 babies. Every civilized society today is saying, elevate women by not forcing them to have more kids than they know what to do with.
And that's exactly what's happening with this migrant flow into Europe as well. The most common name in Britain is Muhammad.
Well, that's interesting. When Germany, who lost 5 million soldiers in the Second War,
how many people did they have? 40 million, 50 million at that time?
No. They had, when I lived there as a kid, I remember, I'm good on my statistics, even when I was a little kid. There were 80 million Germans. You know how many there are today?
80 million.
Yeah, no more. And they had 2 million Turks they brought in as workers. The reason that Germany wants to have, they call 800,000, that's probably what they need to man their factories. Germany is dying off fast.
They think they're going to go to work in factories in Germany? Is that the plan?
Well, that's the plan. That's why the chancellor got a lot of criticism for making that comment.
Rightfully so, I would say. And ISIS already said 9 or 10 months ago, part of their plan was to infiltrate their jihadis into Europe.
One thing, of course, there's still a lot of German in me, and I go back to the old Germany, obviously before Hitler, and when I see the Cologne Cathedral, which is a beautiful building, built in the Middle Age, the Muslims have now built a mosque that's higher than the Cologne Cathedral. It's symbolic, but that's where they're coming from, and that's where they're going.
And the German newspapers are now starting to print in Arabic. So all of Western Europe is being infiltrated, and like you said, it's just a matter of time. If you populate the society, you're going to become the minority.
Well, France, which has about 700,000 Jews and is now more than 1 million Muslims, I think there's about 7 million Muslims, that's right, and about 700,000 Jews. A lot of them are just going to Israel because they're being attacked wherever they go, which, it's so sad. Our colleges in this country today, especially here in California, play by the Arab playbook.
Yeah. We need to take a brief time out. Our Homeland Security, Political Insider, and Moment in History are straight ahead. If you want to watch the show or catch any of our segments in simple and free, just go to YouTube and search Morris Beschloss. Remember to like us, recommend us, leave comments, and share with your family and friends. Our quote of the day, let's see if you know who this is. All great things are simple. Many can be expressed in a single word. Freedom, justice, honor, duty, mercy, and hope.
Theodore Rocha?
Winston Churchill, one of the greatest men of the 20th century.